Hi, I'm Kaja.
And I'm Joanna.
And this is Starlit Citadel Reviews.
Alchemists is a highly thematic deduction game from Matoush Kotre and Czech Games Edition.
In Alchemists, players are alchemists racing to identify the properties of their ingredients and publish their theories. It plays with 2 to 4 players in about 2 hours.
So players begin by choosing either Master or Apprentice mode, and we're going to be explaining Apprentice mode today. So they set up the boards and tokens according to the player count, and then shuffle the favor and ingredients decks and place them face down. 3 random level 1 artifacts are placed on the board, and 3 level 2 and level 3 artifacts go beside the board. The deck of adventurer and conference tiles is prepared and placed face down.
Each player gets a set of tokens, bid cards, and seals, and a laboratory and player board in their color. The grants go on the theory board, the top 5 ingredients are placed face up, and everyone's reputation marker goes on the track. Players collect 2 gold and 3 ingredients, then draw 2 favors and discard 1. The starting player is chosen, and the game begins.
Players begin each of Alchemist's 6 rounds by determining player order. So beginning with the starting player, everyone places their flask on a space of the order track, and then either draws the cards or pays the gold indicated by that space. The bottom green space cannot be chosen.
Next, players declare actions in reverse order by placing the required number of action cubes in a slot in the row matching their order position. You can take an action as many times as there are slots in your row. In round 1, players only get 3 cubes, and the Sell Potion, Debunk Theory, and Publish Theory action spaces are not available.
Players then resolve actions in order from top to bottom of every column of cubes. To forage for ingredients, a player either takes one of the face-up ingredients cards or draws one from the top of the deck. Face-up cards are not replenished.
To transmute ingredients, pay 1 ingredient for 1 gold. To buy an artifact from the board, spend the gold listed on its upper left. Artifacts have immediate or ongoing effects and are worth victory points at the end of the game.
Experiments combine ingredients into potions and are resolved using an app. Each ingredient has an alchemical formula with a red, blue, and green circle, each of which is either positive or negative and small or large. 2 ingredients will combine to make a potion with the color and sign of a matched pair of small and large circles on their alchemicals. Ingredients with no match make a neutral potion.
To test a potion on a student, you place 2 ingredients into your cauldron and scan them, display the result, and place the matching token on your public board. You also put a token in your result triangle and use a deduction grid to figure out your ingredients' alchemicals.
Now, if a student drinks a negative potion, then everyone testing potions on them later that round must pay 1 gold. Testing a potion on yourself means that the player experiences its negative effects. So a blue insanity potion will cost you 1 reputation. A green paralysis potion sends your flask to that bottom green space of the order track for the next turn. And red poison sends your action cube to the hospital.
To sell a potion to the face-up adventurer, you use 1 cube to indicate which potion you will attempt, and 1 to set a price and guarantee how closely you'll match the indicated potion. You mix 2 ingredients and display the result. If it's at least as close a match as you guaranteed, you get paid. If you make a neutral potion or one with the wrong sign, you lose 1 reputation.
If multiple players are selling, then they first play 1 bid card face down, offering the discount that it lists. Cards are revealed and player tokens are reordered based on each player's number of smileys. Players with a high reputation get a bonus smiley, but lose extra reputation if they get their potion wrong. You cannot offer a discount or a guarantee that would drop your price to 0 or less.
To publish a theory, pay 1 gold, place what you think is the correct alchemical token on an ingredient on the theory board, place 1 of your seals to its right, and gain 1 reputation. You can endorse an existing theory by placing a seal on it and paying 1 gold to the bank and 1 to every player with a seal on that theory. You don't gain reputation. If you have seals on 2 ingredients depicted on a grant tile, you take it and collect its gold. Further grants require 3 ingredients.
To debunk a theory, you choose one published theory and then use the app to determine the sign of one of its colors. If it matches the theory, you fail and lose 1 reputation. If it doesn't match, then you gain 2 reputation, and all seals on that theory are revealed and removed. A player with a colored seal that matches the color that was debunked loses no reputation, but a player with a starred seal or a seal of another color loses 5 reputation.
If you debunk a theory and have a cube on the Publish Theory action space, you can immediately publish a theory using the alchemical or ingredient that you just debunked.
Favors can be played at the time that they list, and they give a one-time advantage. You can also decline an action and move its cubes to the unused cube space instead.
At the end of the round, the player with the most seals gets 1 reputation. Players retrieve their cubes and get 1 favor for every 2 unused cubes. Cubes in the hospital are moved to unused cubes. A new adventurer is revealed, and if a conference tile was in play, players gain or lose reputation for their seals, and new artifacts become available. 5 new ingredients go on the board, and the starting player token is passed left.
In the final round, the experiment spaces are covered by the exhibition board, which lets players show off potions for extra reputation. Being the first to display a potion gets you 1 reputation, and displaying both potions of 1 color gets you 2 reputation.
At the end of the game, players earn victory points for their reputation points, artifacts, grants, and gold. All of the correct alchemicals are revealed for each of the ingredients, and players gain or lose victory points based on their seals and whether their theories were correct. The player with the most points is the winner.
So my big question before playing Alchemists was whether that app was going to be any good. There's been a lot of experimenting lately with integrating technology into board games, and I'm always a bit skeptical of such attempts because I find they can try to shoehorn in something new and shiny that doesn't actually enhance the game. And I'm very happy to report that is not the case here. The app works beautifully. It does a really good job of handling the tedious bookkeeping and table reference that would be required in order to actually tell players what the potions do, and basically eliminates the need for a game master, which would be a pretty tedious role in a game like this. I think it does a really nice job of demonstrating just how technology can enhance these games, and I found it really easy to use, very attractive and well integrated with the theme and the design of the game, and surprisingly unobtrusive and useful. So go app. It was great. Now, app aside, Alchemists also happens to be a very good game. I liked it a lot. I liked deduction games. They're really fun. But what I particularly liked here is that there's a lot more going on than just the deduction. Because you get your reputation not from figuring stuff out or solving a mystery, but from publishing your theories and debunking other people's, there's a really neat element of bluffing that happens because you often have to publish theories that you're not 100% sure on. There's also a really neat element of kind of soft cooperation because at a certain point, you're probably going to have to start relying on other people's research in order to do your own. You don't know if you can trust their research, you don't know if they know what they're doing, or they've just bluffed. You might even be trying to debunk their theories while at the same time having to rely on certain elements of them to build your own. It's a really nice simulation of how things sometimes actually work in academia. It makes for a really interesting game that adds a lot of interaction, and it means, I think, that once people figure out the deduction side of this game, if they've played it a few times, it's still going to have a lot of life to it because there's so much more to the game than just that. One challenge with Alchemists, and this is common to deduction games, but I think particularly bad here because of the nature of the deduction grid, is that it is very unforgiving of errors, and bookkeeping errors in particular. If you put an X in the wrong place in one of the first couple rounds of the game, you may find a few rounds later that half of your theories are wrong and you don't actually know how it happened. So you have to be very diligent with your bookkeeping. You do have to be quite careful. You do have to spend a little bit more time paying attention to how you're recording things and making sure that you're writing things down right, because there really isn't a lot of room to bounce back if you mess something up. One other brief note is that you guys may have noticed a bit of a component issue in our demonstration of the game where the little potion tokens are just a little bit too big to fit properly in the triangle on the player boards. That is being fixed in the newest print run of Alchemists, and any copies of the game that are actually published in North America are not going to have that problem. So if you saw it in our video and it was going to deter you from buying the game, know that it is being dealt with and should no longer be an issue very shortly.
So another problem that might come up for you in Alchemist is there is a lot to do here. A lot of choices to make, a lot of deductions to make on your own. So this is the kind of game where you could get bogged down in your choices on a turn. Turns could end up going quite slowly because some of the players at the game could get stuck in that analysis paralysis thing that happens when you have this much choice and this many options. So watch for that. If your group tends to be prone to that kind of thing, might be a problem here. That being said, I also really liked Alchemists. The deduction side of this game is really fun and challenging. It's not all that easy to figure it out, and it's going to take a lot of thought and a lot of careful record keeping in order to get it all straight in your head. And it's a really, really good time. I was a little skeptical of the note-taking element of this game, like the actual pad of paper with the pencil required. I sort of cringed at that a bit, just like I cringed at the app, but both work very, very well. It definitely is required. All of those little elements are necessary additions to this game, which just add to the way this game plays, and it's really fun. Also, the theme is fantastic. The art is beautiful. The color choices are vibrant. This game looks a lot like Dungeon Pets. If you've seen that game, it's the same artist. So it's got that look where every illustration has minute detail in it. You can peek into every little corner of the cards and the game boards, and it has a lot of surprises for you and extra little bits and pieces that you'll enjoy. Also, the rulebook itself is hilarious. There's a lot of flavor text in there, which just adds to this really nice, complex, beautiful world. Czech Games Edition does a really good job in some of their games of creating this world for you full of detail. There's a lot of ways to enjoy this game. The theme and the art is one way and the gameplay is another. And I just think that it's very clear and very nice how much care obviously goes into a game like this and has gone into a game like this. So this is definitely one of my top games for this year, I would say. Even though I'm not going to talk about it because Kaja's going to talk about it in her top games.